Hi everybody, welcome back to the Bumpkin News. Glad you could join us today. We want to talk about concealed carry weapons permits. Before we go any further, we want to tell you that before you do anything with a firearm, check your local regulations, your local laws, because we are giving you our opinions here. It's not any kind of legal advice. It's what we think for ourselves, and I think you'll agree that it is something upon which the Second Amendment would back up, and good common sense. Okay, you get a lot of disinformation about this subject, and a lot of it from people that have never owned a firearm, have never fired a firearm, and really don't have any idea what they're talking about. We had a editorial in a local newspaper where the editor tried to cast concealed carry weapon permit holders as John Wayne wannabes, quasi-law enforcement officers, hopefuls, people that drive pickup trucks, loose cannons, that kind of thing, people that would eventually cause shootouts on Main Street, those kind of things. We have to agree with Ted Nugent in that the Second Amendment is the ultimate concealed carry weapons permit. I think that the concealed carry weapon permits have come into being because there is something to tracking, keeping firearms out of the wrong hands. People that are responsible and show that by taking a certain amount of firearms training, and that is a good thing, and I didn't mind doing that. I would comply with that, but the ultimate authority is the Second Amendment, because you and I have the right to defend ourselves if we believe ourselves to be in serious bodily or death, life-threatening situations. We do have the right to defend ourselves, although that's maybe not the broader sense of the Second Amendment. Check my other video for more on that. But that's the idea behind the concealed carry weapons permit. We had a local newspaper here, as we told you, that ran that editorial, and they don't understand the idea behind the concealed carry weapons permit. It's not to make you a law enforcement officer. The idea of the concealed carry permit is to permit the holder to protect himself, and by extension his wife, his family, from serious bodily injury or death. It is not some authorization that transforms the holder into a law enforcement officer or some sort of a new policeman on the block or anything like that. It's simply to protect yourself against serious bodily injury or death, and you have a responsibility, if you can, to evade or to escape. The concealed carry weapons permit holder never wants to use that weapon. They never want to display that weapon. They don't want anybody to know that they even have that weapon. That's the ultimate goal. I want to go through life never having to get into a situation where I would have to use a firearm on another human being. That's our goal. It's kind of like the Good Samaritan law in a way. You know, if you happen on a traffic accident and a person has a serious injury, you can only do what you have been trained to do in your experience. If you go beyond that, you risk possible liability of a lawsuit. If I see a bleeding wound, I can apply pressure to that, but I'm not going to take my pocket knife out and start performing impromptu surgery on somebody because I don't know what I'm doing. And it's the same with a concealed carry weapons permit. I'm going to use it to my experience. If I can make situations worse by drawing a firearm, not knowing what I'm doing, and getting in over my head, and that's not the purpose of the concealed carry weapons permit. There was an episode that happened in Florida at a Burger King where a thug came in to rob it, and a patron pulls out his gun and winds up. He's shot. The thug shot. There's two people shot with gunshot wounds, and it needn't have happened that way. The concealed carry permit holder in a situation like that, the first thing I would do would be to look for a way out, to get out, and to make a 911 call. I'm not there to enforce the law, and I'm not there to take somebody captive and that kind of thing. I'm simply to protect my life and my well-being and that of my wife, my children. I tell my wife, if it ever happens, you get under a table, I'm going to go this way, and I'll protect us. Now, anything beyond that, you're taking on your own volition and of your own experience. Well, anyway, let's look back at this editorial. What would I do if I was driving down the street and I saw the editor of that newspaper that wrote that article about concealed carry weapons permits? What would I do if I saw a thug holding a knife to this person's throat up against a building? Would I slam on the brakes, jump out, draw my weapon, and try to resolve the situation? Absolutely not. What I would do, I would blow my horn. I would try to attract attention, hopefully that the person would leave, become scared and leave, and I would call 911. But I would not swing into action as some sort of a unauthorized law enforcement agent. And the concealed carry weapon permit is for me to protect me, not for me to protect you. That is your responsibility. We think about the situation. What would I do if I saw somebody harming a little girl, possibly dragging a little girl into the bushes or trying to disrobe her or something like that? I think human compassion comes into play here. And if I saw something like that, I think the first thing I would do, I would get something as heavy as I could. If I had something in my car, maybe I had a camera on a lanyard, I would take it and start swinging at the guy's head, or we would assume it'd be a male, the assailant's head, trying to get that person away from that little girl, whatever I had to do that. And in a case like that, ultimately, a person would feel constrained to use a concealed weapon on something like that. But again, those are situations where it is based on the man's or the carrier's experience and their compassion and those things. But the basic purpose of that permit is to defend yourself. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or remarks, let us know.